The man who just released his 24th edition of his comprehensive college football preview, publisher, editor, Heisman voting committee member, and now full-timer with ESPN, Phil Steele, joins us on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline. Phil, great to have you back on the show.
Hey, a real pleasure. Thanks for having me on, guys. How are you two doing today?
Fantastic.
Great, now that you're on.
Makes us feel that much closer to college football. Now, question, is there any day of the year that you don't study something about college football?
It's tough to find a day. No, I don't know if that day exists. But I'll be honest with you. There are some days, like Christmas Day, for example. I might only work on football maybe an hour and a half that day.
Okay. No days off. Bill Belichick loves that attitude, Phil.
And I love Bill Belichick. I love the job he does there.
What's your reaction to the makeup of the 2018 BYU schedule that has the likes of Arizona, Cal, Wisconsin, and Washington all in September?
Yeah, it's a pretty rough schedule. BYU usually pulls in some pretty rough schedules, but this an Arizona team that's got Khalil Tate at quarterback, really caught fire down the stretch last year. A Cal team that's much improved. I expect to be in a bowl game, and then the Badgers of Wisconsin simply have the number one rated offensive line in the country, Jonathan Taylor, a veteran quarterback. And BYU fans will remember the game last year when they came into Provo and won that thing 40-6. That's going to be a pretty tough out there. A little bit of a break with McNeese, although McNeese a quality FCS team, and then Washington. And that's a team I'm expecting to make the playoffs. So it's a brutal September, as I think BYU fans have pretty much grown accustomed to.
Yeah, we're used to tough Septembers, that's for sure. I sing When September Ends often by Green Day just to remind myself that there are other games. Washington and Wisconsin, who's the better team in your opinion? Is it Washington who you think will make the playoff, you said?
I've got the two almost dead even in the power poll. I don't have Wisconsin making the playoffs because they play a little bit of a tougher schedule. But as mentioned, with their offensive line, Jonathan Taylor, a veteran quarterback, one of the best defenses in the country, they are loaded. You look at Wisconsin's schedule this year, however. Last year on the road in Big Ten play, they took on four teams that had losing records. This year they've got to travel to face Iowa in Kinnick, Michigan in Ann Arbor, Northwestern on the road, Penn State in Happy Valley, and Purdue on the road. All five teams made it to a bowl last year. So I don't think they're going to match their 12-0 record, but that doesn't mean talent-wise they're not there with last year. And with Washington, I think it's Chris Peterson's best team he's put on the football field. Remember 2 years ago they made the playoffs as my number one surprise team. Well, this year they've got Jake Browning back. Browning went from 43 touchdown passes 2 years ago down to just 19 last year. I expect him to regain that 16 form. He's got Myles Gaskins to hand off to, a veteran offensive line, and 9 starters back on the defense. So the best Washington team they put on the field under Peterson, including my number 2 set of defensive backs in the country. They're going to be a dangerous team, and I expect them to make the playoffs.
Phil Steele with us on BYU Sports Nation. Both Jerem and I feel like 6 wins equals success for BYU coming off a shocking 4-9 season last year. Just get back to a bowl game. In your opinion, what is an optimistic number of wins you can realistically conjure up for BYU this season?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned realistically because if you're one of those BYU fans, you got your blue-colored glasses on, and you're really going, hey, we could do this. I would say your most optimistic level would be 9, but I'm not at that level. And the Vegas total right now on BYU is 5.5, and I feel that's pretty fair. BYU is going to be a double-digit underdog in 4 or 5 games this year. The 4 games for sure at Arizona, at Wisconsin, at Washington, and at Boise, close to double digits with at Utah. And then you look at the rest of the schedule. I got a couple of key toss-up games in there. The Cal game, which I think is pivotal in week 2.
Yes.
And then a very good Utah State team, October 5th. Don't look past the Aggies because remember when Matt Wells started out there, the first 2 years under Matt Wells, they had experienced teams. They won 9 games. They won 10 games. The last 3 years, they've been rather inexperienced. Well, this year he's got 18 returning starters, might have his best team back yet. That is going to be a big, crucial Friday night game as well. And Utah State gets the advantage coming in off a bye, while BYU will have just played Wisconsin and Washington in 2 of the previous 3 weeks and be coming off that brutal September.
Phil, I put on our blue goggles and I see 9 wins for BYU. No, I'm just kidding.
There you go.
In a lot of your position breakdowns for BYU, which is excellent, by the way, you said that you expect most, if not all of them, to improve. Is that a product of being 4-9, or do you see improvement because these guys will be better?
I think definitely because of what happened last year. I mean, the offense can only be improved. That was an abysmal offense for the most part, especially early on last year. So you have to figure most positions be improved. But going over the team with Coach Satake this year, I like the talent that they have in most of the positions. And, they're probably not going to have a one feature running back, but they go with a running back by committee. And I think they'll come up with a pretty good one with Katoa, Canada, Burt, et cetera. I think they're going to get vastly improved quarterback play. Tanner Mangum, I think, is a better fit for this offense than he was for last year's offense. And then you look at the offensive line. They've got a couple of good key starters back, which should be improvement. They add in the transfer from Hawaii, a wide receiver, and Dylan Collie. Offense can only be improved. Defensively, they look pretty stout up front of that defensive front seven.
Phil Steele just released his 24th edition of the Comprehensive College Football Preview. He's a full-timer with ESPN now, with us on BYU Sports Nation. Phil, again, let's go back to the bowl game conversation. We feel like BYU needs to get to a bowl game for it to be a success, but improvement is a funny conversation because some fans say, well, hey, just win one more game. That technically means improvement, right? What qualifies for you as improvement for this BYU football program?
It has to be a bowl game. I need to see BYU make a bowl this year. They're too good of a program to be getting 5 wins and considering it an accomplishment. It's conceivable they get to a bowl game. I think they should get to a bowl game this year. So I would put the bottom floor of it, if you're looking for a good, decent season, would have to be just making a bowl game. Would have to be the bare minimum.
BYU returns the 5th most percentage of yards, I believe, on offense. How much more improved do you expect that offense to be under whoever the quarterback is? We still don't know.
Yeah, we do not know who's going to win the job. I think Tanner Mangum has a good chance of winning it. Zach Wilson could step in there and do it, but I don't know if Mangum was a good fit for the offense last year. I was talking to Trevor Matich all the time. He was my lunch buddy at ESPN when I was up there in Bristol, and we were going over the BYU offense quite a bit. And he did not feel that Mangum was a good fit for the offense that they had on the field last year. I think it'll be a better fit this year, much improved in that aspect. And, let's face it, guys, when you're looking at 17 points per game, it can only be vastly improved this year.
Phil, we know you take no days off, and so we certainly appreciate you taking some time with us on BYU Sports Nation. Where can people pick up a copy of your magazine?
Well, they can get it at all the major bookstores out there. It's at Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, CVS, Publix, Target, Walgreens, Walmart, and that's the best way to get it. And to get it early because they sell out so doggone quickly. 352 pages. When you pick it up, it's about twice the size of a normal magazine, and it's got 3 to 4 times the amount of information. And we give you the same amount of coverage on BYU that we do on Alabama, USC, 2 full pages, all the information, same spot on every page. Can't find it at the bookstores? You can go to the website, which is philsteele.com. That's STEELE.com, philsteele.com.
And if that's not enough, you have an FCS magazine and an NFL magazine coming back this year.
Yeah, the NFL magazine coming back this year. That should be out probably about 3 weeks or so. The FCS magazine, I'm going to give it one more shot, guys. Give it the old college try, as they say. If I sell a few hundred like I've been, I'm not going to take that bath anymore. But if we could get it up there and find there's an interest in the FCS, then I'm not in it to make money. I just like to break even once in a while.
I understand that. Phil, thanks so much. Great to talk to you as always.
Hey, a lot of fun talking football with you guys today, as always.
All righty. Big thanks to Phil Steele for joining us on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, your values, your timeline, your financial future.
He knows his stuff, man. He's extremely thorough in his research and preparation. I don't read that and go, he's not connected. He's totally connected. And he's not looking at it from afar. He's talking to Trevor Matich. He's talking to Kalani Sitake.
His lunch buddy is our Matich Monday go-to.
I want Trevor as a lunch buddy. I'm a little jealous of that.
Yeah, that'd be
fun.
Benefits of being a full-timer at ESPN now, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.